All right, hi everybody. Thanks for coming in. I'm Tim Pfeiffer. I own, along with my wife, LA Castle Studios, the facility you're in. Sponsoring this together with Key Code, an engineering company, but most importantly right now, Brainstorm. This is Brad Rumler from Brainstorm. Brainstorm, some of you know about virtual sets, 3D virtual sets, where you're going to save $1 million on your next production if you choose to use it, versus actually building these sets that appear to be $1 million. So Brainstorm has just been a leader for decades in that realm, in that industry. Well, not long ago, Brainstorm figured out how to put that technology they already had together with the Unreal video game engine, and that has just changed everything. So now we can shoot those great talk shows and news shows and host raps that you would have been able to do for a while thanks to Brainstorm. But now, again thanks to Brainstorm, you can do dramatic shows, scripted shows. We're right now doing a TV series, a dramatic series, where locations can be anywhere. This one you're right in now is supposed to be and is indistinguishable from an actual location in Barcelona, Spain, a very famous pavilion. But I'm going to show you lots more about that. But I want to introduce Brad Rumler from Brainstorm.
Sure, thanks Tim. Hi everyone, first of all thanks for coming out, and I know some people have travelled as far as Atlanta and Las Vegas and other places to be here today. So appreciate that. So again, I'm Brad with Brainstorm. I'm VP of Sales for the US and Canada. I guess give a quick background of Brainstorm if you're not familiar with the company. The company's been around for 25 years. Founded in 1993, doing virtual studios, real-time graphics, augmented reality, one of the first actually pioneers, even before most of our competitors, if not all of them. We're a very passionate company, people who love doing what we're doing. We still have an original CEO, we're not a public company. So we focus on this area of real-time graphics, virtual studios, specifically augmented reality. We also have a product called Aston as well. But the focus of this particular event is to showcase what Tim is doing with our technology. So just to give you a quick summary of what we're showing here is the Infinity Set, which is our flagship product. It's a software product. It works on a HP workstation. So there's a renderer per camera, as you see here, one for each camera. We also have on each camera the MOSA Star Tracker system. You'll see the little white dots on the ceiling. What that does is it's reflecting, basically taking the positioning of the camera, so as it moves around, it's locking in the real world with the virtual world. We're also using Tim's using here the Ultimate 12 systems per camera as well, so he's getting a very nice key here. So that's kind of a quick summary of the overview, but we help sort of spec and put this whole system together in partnership with Key Code Media here, local integrator. So with that, I'll hand you over to Tim. He's going to show you lots of amazing stuff. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Brad. So what we've done, we've taken what we believe to be, I'm going to say, among the best cinema cameras in Hollywood. I think they're the best, but there'll be lots of argument there. But we've taken these big-time 4K cinema cameras, combined them with cinema lenses. We've got 3 of them, so all the cameras are recording. When you do business here, you're going to get 4 feeds, actually. 1 from each camera, plus a line cut. And incidentally, I keep forgetting to mention this. When you come here and do business with us, you actually get the whole facility. There are dressing rooms, writers' rooms, just everything you'll need to be comfortable in your productions. But anyway, as I mentioned, what Brad's company did, they figured out a way to take a video game engine and combine it with their virtual studio system. And that's very important because you'll discover as you look into it, well, it's important for a couple of reasons. The video game engine environments are just so realistic that all of a sudden you can do movies, you can do dramatic TV series, you can do sitcoms, all of which we're doing now because of these cameras combined with this video game engine. But not only does it make it so that the stuff looks better, that stuff looks totally realistic so that your viewers will never guess that you actually haven't spent that big money to go to Spain in this case, or the TV series we just did, there were scenes from environments from Brazil, from Hamburg, Germany. We're just jetting around to these places with clicks of computer mouses. So anyway, but as I said, it's great with the Unreal Engine, Unreal video game engine. But to me, even more important is you can get any location virtually you can dream for virtually free. And you know, in the television business, when you hear something costs $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, that's considered to be free. But I'm not talking to TV business. I'm talking about the real world. These environments like the one we're in here, and we have the whole grounds of this pavilion, beautiful marble and slate. And I've seen videos of the actual pavilion. It looks totally identical to this. But anyway, I'm not.
We'll slide outside of this pavilion real quick just to show you.
Yeah. Anyway, these environments aren't costing $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, which would still be cheap. We're buying these for $30, $40, $50. So all of a sudden, your productions can just have, creatively, it just frees you up for everything. So again, it's cheap and it's beautiful and just opens up a whole new world. And
Same environment, but a new location.
just a different section of this pavilion. It's out by this very shallow pool. But we just used this in a recent production. We had the corporate headquarters. The CEO and his daughter came out here and had coffee. Again, it just totally frees you up. So I'm going to run through, show you a bunch of environments, but keep in mind, I'm just showing you a small section of these environments. For example, well, first of all, let me say too, your scenes can take place anywhere, past, present, or future. You want to be on a spaceship, the most elaborate spaceship you've ever seen on TV, with a full bridge, sick bay, the engine room, the weapons room, corridors in between, galley, everything. So if you want to have a scene in the future, you want to have a scene on the planet Mars, you want to have a scene in London of 1890, we've got the whole towns, or if we don't have them, we can buy them for 30, 50, $100. So it's a wonderful thing. So let's switch to another environment. Oh, also too, most of these too, with the size of this, our cameras can be moving freely. You want to position your cameras over here, truck, dolly, handheld. You just move freely thanks to the tracking system that Brad mentioned. This is London of 1890. We've got the whole city. You got shops you can go into. We usually throw out markers to kind of show where the sidewalk would be, so we get it set up walking right down the sidewalk. It's a big area. This although it's seems to be a relatively confined space, it actually is, for this world, very big. I could be walking all along here, which take advantage of the curves. And again, I've just crossed a street, had lots of movement. Brett, put it up here close. We'll do kind of a Steadicam type shot. You have people walking along here, having a walk and talk as they go along. All of this in a full 3D world, and that's what makes this real. And this looks as real as anything they build down at Warner Brothers. And you build this for Warner Brothers, they're either going to have to tear it down at some point and store it, or tear it down and put it in some other city.
And again, we have this whole street. So David, go down the street. You can just be at a totally different area down here.
And by the way, all kinds of adjustments you put on this. I just walked on the stage. Normally you'd kind of adjust the lighting to match up. Maybe you'd, David, I don't know if I seem kind of bright here. Maybe you can dial it back a little bit so I feel like I'm popping maybe out of the scene a little bit too much. So we can kind of match it up so that the foreground and background looks totally in alignment. Yeah, thank you, David. I like that a lot better. Okay, so let's show switch to another set. Again, the whole point is I'm showing you could go wherever the show requires, and I'm going to show you talk show sets and all that kind of stuff too here shortly. But no matter where your scene takes place, whether it's a mansion, an office, anywhere past, present, or future, you can be there without having to pay the money to go there.
Yeah, you don't have to break down your sets at the end of a shoot. They're all stored on a little thumb drive, so you just press a button and you're
And this is an art gallery from turn of the century here also. You can have as much real stuff in here. In fact, the more real stuff you have, the better. Maybe you, in this case, maybe it's going to be some Victorian dining room or something. So you'd put a real dining room table in here. We've got most of the furniture you're probably going to need for most scenes. So you put in real furniture, real props, and again, you can just mix and match freely. Everything's going to be tracked together in the real world. All right, let's switch to another one, please. Okay. And this one, while we're switching, the adjusting thing, the tracking appears to be off, but it's not. This is a very cool location. If you've seen the movie Reservoir Dogs, it's kind of it's a warehouse. We just shot a television show here. It was this was a police. It had to do with a stolen car. This is where the police would store the stolen cars and this kind of thing. But again, very cool warehouse. So you can get if you want something elaborate like a space station or a golf course, we've got it and you can get it. Or if you want something very down to earth and gritty, you can get that too. Again, this is a very cool warehouse.
This one you can show off just how big this stage can appear.
Yeah, so your sets can appear to be gigantic, and it would be, you know, if you actually went to a real warehouse, you'd go through all that trouble of finding the warehouse, asking them to shut down their business while you shot in there, which is, they're not going to be happy or it's going to be expensive. But even then, like this, the size of it, to light a whole warehouse where you can see all of it like this would be very expensive. So this looks like a high dollar shot that we're doing right now. We can put whatever depth of field we want on here, so as the camera zooms in, the background comes out of focus, pull back out, comes back into focus. So, yeah, and even on the virtual objects, he's zooming in on whatever that card over there, you can focus it and show it off, so that may be some key plot point. So even things that aren't there, he can be zooming in on, or you could be zooming in on. When we've got this dialed up right, I'm a little too far back to see it, but typically you can see shadows on the floor, if there are real shadows. The way we're lit, there aren't real heavy, but you can see some shadow there. That is considered to be the gold standard of green screen. That's the most difficult thing to do. If you can show a shadow, all of a sudden things look real. You're not floating on top of the ground. So we've gotten really, really good at doing that. Okay, so let's show another environment, please. And by the way, as we switch these around, just feel free, if anybody does have any questions, feel free to pipe in. Here's a Route 66 diner. Really nice location. What you'd, of course, do in this, you'd have at least one real table in here with chairs and food, and you can see the fans turning in the background. But yeah, all of a sudden you put in a real table or two, real people dining, of course, real food, maybe a waiter or waitress, and all of a sudden it just has complete reality. And again, can appear to be huge, lots of room to come walking down. So this is actually a pretty fast walk and a pretty long walk. Again, it's just no different than actually heading out to Albuquerque or wherever on Route 66 and going into this diner. Okay, another environment, please.
I have a question over here.
Yes.
So you have your archive of sets and everything. Do you also can create custom ones for clients or no choose?
Here's my answer to that. We don't do it ourselves, but there are people that do, and in fact, especially now that the Unreal, like there are kids, and of all ages really, all over the world making.
Yeah, the word used is open source. Just everybody can access this program, get on there and mess around.
So everybody's making these environments. And here's the real key, because yeah, we do have a nice little library, but not everything you'll need. But there is this marketplace where all these people making these environments, they post them for sale. That's where we got all these, for like that $50, $100. So you just go to the marketplace, they have thousands, they're very likely to have whatever you need for pennies, 30, 40, 50, $50.
Excuse me? Can there actually be places that don't exist on the...
Oh, it's full of that. They got cities from the future.
They got
And
Mars. They got different
so
places.
they for some reason the video games, they love societies and cities that have been destroyed by war and so on from the future.
Sets.
Yeah, sewers. You want to go running down a sewer? I found that one. So there's almost anything. In a minute here, this is a haunted house. You can see the lightning in the background. Keep in mind, again, this is just the lobby of this haunted house, but we have everywhere in this set. There are bathrooms, bedrooms, dungeons. I mean, there's everything in most of these sets.
What's your standard rate for, like, do you do day rentals or?
We do day rentals, but I'm going to give you my business card and email me, and I'll email you a price list. Okay, so they're on the marketplace. You can usually find what you want, but if you can't, then you got to get one made up here. But even better, usually you do a YouTube search, and we did a movie here last week, and they needed a school, and for whatever reason, there's not a good school in the Unreal Marketplace. So I did a YouTube search, Unreal School, came up, a beautiful video of an Unreal model school came up. I emailed the guy and said, hey, would you be interested in selling it to me? He said yes, he would, and he charged me, he said he wanted $60 for it, and I felt that was too cheap, so I paid him $100 for it, but even $100, well, we'll show you that school in a second. It's really, really good.
So if it airs on TV, can you sign something that says you can do anything you want with it, or?
In the Unreal Marketplace terms of service, Brett used the term open source. It is the most open thing there is. It clearly states that anybody who buys a model can use it in whatever way he wants, for commercial purposes, forever. So you have total rights to use it. The only thing you can't do, I can't give you that file where you could then have the set for doing your own productions. But so if you want the file, you got to buy it from the original person. But you're totally free to use it however you want. Any of these.
Here's that classroom.
Here's a classroom. Now, what they did then for this movie, they brought in real school desks, and they had 30 kids here or so, and a teacher and the teacher's desk, and it is 100% real. You just could not tell the difference when that, especially when that furniture was in there. We had the hallway. We had scenes in the hallway, people buzzing to class, going back and forth.
All these environments, they're just full schools. Like so David, take us out into the hallway here. And so what they did for the movie, they had all the kids facing this way, and they shot the scene this way, and then they flipped the school around in the virtual world and turned the desks around, and then they got that reverse shot of like the teacher and stuff.
Even though,
Yeah. Slid over, here we are in the hallway, and they had tons of like.
they had kids coming by, kids coming out of the rooms, backpacks on, total reality. And in fact, in this case, the movie almost didn't get shot because they were having trouble getting a filming permit and getting an actual school to shoot in. It's if you've ever tried it, it's not easy to do. But they found us, and they got the exact scenes they wanted. Okay, let's move on to another one, please.
What are your options for time of day? I want to shoot the same scene in a night scene, same location.
Good questions. Some of the sets, they come where you have a number of different options. Like you can choose, you can change it to night, change it to day. You can have one we've got with some cars in it. You can change the colors of the cars, but they're not all like that. If it is in a formula or format you don't like you want to switch it to night, you get a kid or somebody who works with Unreal, and it's a very easy process for them to change it. That school that I showed you, that was actually a Japanese school with Japanese writing on the chalkboard and Japanese notifications and so on. So the kid who did it for us, it was actually his project, he just changed it. He took the writing off, made it, added back English writing to the blackboard, had English signs up there and all this kind of stuff. So if it's not the way you want it, half of the sets, they're built in where you can get all those changes, just that we could do it. But other than that, then you got to send it out. But there are people that do it. I mean, it's easy. In fact, it's much easier than, easier than going to a real house in the daytime and trying to make it look like it's night. Like this would be just way easier.
So we just saw David's in there tweaking around, but this is all the same set. We were just in the living room, but now we're in the kitchen part of it.
And Brett, this is a lot of these sets have really nice features. Oh, for almost all of these things, again, you'd have a real, it's kind of far back there. Maybe move it up a little bit, David, up closer to the, where I'm closer to the counter. But for all of these, when we shoot with these, we do all kinds of just little fakes into it that just even add to the reality. Like in this one, we would put a couple apple boxes over where the island is there. And we put a coffee maker on top of it. And so the actor would come walking in. We'd use that tennis ball can lid that you saw before. We'd have it marked. Well, I wouldn't even need that. He'd see the real coffee maker. He'd walk up here, pour himself a cup of coffee, put it back on there that looks like it was right on the counter, wherever it is, and then walk back to the table. So there are all kinds of things to just make total reality. And a lot of them have really cool things. Like Brett, tilt up. You can see this is, oh, you know what? We're outside of the room right here. Yeah, there's a railing right there because there's a deck out that way. But anyway, and we would mask out those lights or reposition it. But anyway, nice glass roof here. You see the tree blowing in the distance.
When you buy your set, was it easier to import in Brainstorm than it was to add into the ORAD or the same process?
That I would say the same. It was the same importing into ORAD as it is into the Brainstorm Infinity sets. But for things like Unreal, like these are with these like real environments, it's really easier than anything that we've ever done, probably. Okay. Are there any other environments?
And then for the actor's experience, is it a matter of blocking out the room with them first, and then you can see yourself right on the monitor down there?
Yeah, they can see themselves, but you know what I found? We've done a lot of stuff here now that it makes no difference to the actors. They're scared at first, but once they get into it, like the actors, like in a scene in the hospital or whatever, they're interacting with the sick patient, or they're dealing with the props, or they're sitting like in a real chair or whatever. Let me.
Yeah, sorry. For
So.
actors and DPs and all that, it's just like shooting in a real environment.
So the actors, they're not typically, no matter even in a real one, they're not back looking at the background anyway. They're dealing with each other, and so you use the same actors, you use the same furniture and so on. So no, they have no problems. And as I mentioned, though, you do sometimes have to block out the scenes. Like if you want to show them going through an entrance, they aren't going to know where the entrance is, so you just put down a little marker. You do block it out. But after that, I mean, they're just acting, and they don't even think about it. And that's a good point you made about they see it in the monitors, because I do a lot of commercials and some other things. And you actually forget, believe it or not, totally surrounded in green. When you keep seeing yourself in that monitor and you're checking out things, you actually start to think that you're in that environment. That's what I found anyway. So yep, it's easy.
Yes. So here's the hospital. Again, these are full 3D worlds. They're not just the exterior hospital. This is the full hospital. So right now we're outside of it in the rain. David, slide us into the reception area. So here we're inside now at reception. And this was just a normal hospital, but for this movie shoot, it was a children's hospital, so they put up children's house and some pictures on the wall and stuff back there.
And there we have hospital rooms.
Yeah, so,
They
so now jump to a room, David. Yeah, here now we're in room of the hospital.
and they had a scene with a sick kid in the bed, so they brought in a real hospital bed. So remember, you can mix and match as many real props as you want, or furniture, or anything.
And then we also have the hallway as part of this hospital here. So yeah, this is, I think there's like three or four stories to this hospital. We're on the second floor, see there.
They got a doctor's lounge. It's pretty cool. We had some scenes in.
Is there a trick to fake it to look like there's a bunch of people behind you when there's not, other than just like a video clip?
You know,
So there's a couple different ways to do it. You can put a video clip in there. You could actually animate like virtual people into this Unreal set and just have it like a little blurred or defocused.
Duplicate them and
Yeah,
resize
and,
it.
and that type of thing. Yeah, or you just have real people.
yeah, the best way we've done it.
All the way back in the room, but yeah, there's lots of ways to tackle that.
The way we've done it mostly, we have actually just extras that are walking back there doing their things, and it looks very, very, very convincing. The thing is, I'm sure there is a way to put virtual people back there, but that would be something you'd need you'd get a set designer to do that.
Like with the Unreal integration, I think it would be pretty easy if you had an Unreal guy. You'd have no problem taking care of that.
Any chance you could do a quick Jim pan move and then a hard stop?
Yeah. Let's do a pop zoom.
Like left or right?
And all of these things, you've got to take a minute to tweak them. Like there's something called a tracking delay,
There is a little
and
delay.
so you'll see it's
That'll be adjusted and
so it's popping an inch. So we'd have to adjust it.
Yeah, we've been throwing in different sets one after the other, so it would require, typically, you're going to delay adjusted for one if you close it.
Understood.
And so when you've got it dialed in, and this is pretty close.
like this is the zoom's right on point. You can see there's no delay at all.
But when you've got it tweaked and dialed in, it is perfect. Like you can't. There's just no difference. But yeah, it's a good observation because I think it even now there's a bit of a little pop.
Can you zoom on you? Can the camera zoom on you as close as possible?
And then do a focus, Brett.
Thank you.
Is your lighting partially LED or mostly LED?
No, we don't happen to have any LEDs. It's all on a dimming system, and again, we haven't lit this in any particular way. We've just kind of walked out here.
So the star tracking is
Not affected or
red issues?
no, that doesn't seem to. We've had all kinds of lighting in here for this movie shoot. They did a lot of LED lighting, but it doesn't make any difference as far as that goes. And by the way, as I said, these could be some pretty big environments. Like this is a very big office, and and he can be following me the whole way. And so there's just a lot of room to walk and talk and have your scenes. Okay, and were there any more, Brett, to show?
Is that the last one? Yeah.
Okay, let's go then to some infinity sets, some news, talk show, that kind of thing.
Was it a difficult process going from HD to 4K?
Yeah, very complicated. I've found it to be a difficult process because
It's like so many extra wires because we're quad link, and then it also goes in there. It changes to 12G single link, so just a lot of.
I mean, almost every piece of equipment, wasn't that had to be changed.
But also we're multiple frame rate capable now. Like before we would just stick on 2997. That was also kind of tricky getting into 2398. You got to change the sync with the master clock and all that stuff. But now it's all solid. So 2398, 2997.
Now the Infinity sets here for, again, mostly for talk shows, host wraps, news shows. We do a lot of infomercials with that. All of these, we've got about 30 sets, and all of them can be totally customized. Like you're just popping up there, putting in and out aisle network news. All the pictures, the windows in the background, they can all be swapped out, have logos, photos, videos, whatever you want. If you're doing a news show, you can have, we could be switching on a click of a computer mouse when you switch from the topic of baseball to football. You got the football player comes up at the right time or whatever. So it's all just totally, totally customizable. And all of these sets would be hundreds of thousands of dollars to actually build. And so again, that's the clients are saving lots of money by using this technology, which really is the present and the future.
On our old virtual system, if I wanted to change out any of these virtual screens, it was like a complicated process. I'd have to make a connection to the screen and save it and load it and do all this. But now it's just drag and drop with Infinity and Brainstorm. You just drag an image onto the screen you want, and it pops in like that. And everything is customizable. You can change the colors on the LEDs. You can change the texture of the floor. You can make it wood. Swap out the background there. So yeah, Brainstorm is very good for being customizable and tweakable.
Okay, we'll just show another Infinity set or two. Hey, David, probably not the one that like the library or whatever, more of a talk show type or news show.
Yeah, the old system was Windows XP, and now the Brainstorm, they're on Windows 10, and it's all up to date. It's just a nice user interface.
Oh, that's a cool set. So some of these have virtual desks, and I could tell you that desk alone would be very expensive. But we could set it so that the talent can be sitting at that virtual desk, and you have what we use. We use a glass sheet right at the top of that, so you can have your hands there, your computer, your coffee cup, papers. But again, very cool set. All those images in the background, those can all be swapped out to whatever your production requires.
So you said you add a piece so that you can actually set things on the desk?
Yeah. Yeah, we do that all the time. Just adds to the reality. And yeah, we've got well, you see it if you come down, but we got a big sheet of glass that we put on green sticks, and works beautifully. I think Brainstorm at anybody, you guys take just green boxes or fabric or something. So yeah. Yeah, Apple box is okay. So anyway, I think that is about it for the presentation. Did anybody have any questions? Let me ask you this, just off the top of your heads, are you more interested, you think, in talk show, host wraps, news type shows, or for your own projects more scripted, dramatic shows and so on?
Scripted drama. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.